We are almost to where we need to be on this particular part. So as we look at it, so we're now going to bring this top assembly into our main assembly. So you can go ahead and close out your top assembly. So we're finished with that. So I will click the close button, and that brings me back into my clock assembly. So now I'm going to place the top assembly in here. So let's go ahead and place this. And here's my top assembly. Open this up. Now notice when this comes in, it's kind of the reverse opposite way that I want it. Now you can go ahead and rotate this around, so I can sit here and right click and rotate in the X, so twice to get it going up the opposite way, if that will be easier for you. Or if you remember, so let me go ahead and cancel this out and just bring that back in for a second. So make sure that I'm bringing that top assembly back in. So, or I can just go ahead and left click and place it, because when we use our assembly constraints on that first, so long as we do that first one correctly, it will automatically flip it over for us. So I'm going to go ahead with my constraint here. We're going to do a mate, and in this case I want to mate this surface right here, the face of the top piece, and I'm going to mate that to the end of the back piece right here. So that's how I put it over, apply it. Once again, I'm going to cancel out of this just so you can see where we're at. So let's rotate the view cube around, so we are now perfectly aligned there with the top. So, and I still got two more assembly constraints to do, and those are both going to be mates as well. So I'm going to go back into my constraint tool, my mate constraint. Again, I'm going to use my view cube to kind of rotate around till I can see the surface that I want. In this case, I can use this one. I'm going to mate that right there. Now let's go back up here, and we'll need to rotate this around so that I can see. I want to make sure that this is mated to this face of the side right there. Apply it. I'm going to cancel out this constraint too, because it's going to be hard for me to move around in my view cube and get to the part and the sides here that I need to see. So I'm going to kind of move this out of the way just a little bit. I'm going to move it forward here. So then I'm going to kind of flip this around so I can see that, because now I want this surface here. So let's go back to our constraint tool. I want this surface on the inside mated, and let's go ahead and flip this around. Use the view cube till you can rotate it to see. I want it to be on the inside here as well, and apply that. Cancel out. There we go. So see if it passes the wiggle test, and it does. We have gotten all of those degrees of freedom locked in. So if I go here now, notice, so looks like we're a little off, just a little bit off. So we would have to go back here, and that's one of our flush constraints. So let's open up in our model browser. Let's take a look at which mate that would be. Well, that's this mate right here. So let's go back and edit that mate. Now, to do that, I am putting my cursor on mate. I am right clicking and going to edit. Now, we just add a flush constraint here. Let's just go 0.128. Let's see where that is. There we go. That 0.18128 or 125, that's 1/8, 0.125 is enough to put that over. And that makes sense, because when we made the parts, we made the stop 1/4 of an inch undersize of the opening of the hole. So if we offset that by 1/8, that should put us on center. Now, let me rotate back. Let's see if we're here. So we've got the same thing going on back here as well. So let's take a look at where this mate is. And that was the last one that we did, mate 10. So I'm going to go ahead and again right click, edit this, offset that by 1/8 of an inch as well to center that up, hit OK. So we're good on that. And now I'm ready to go ahead and just save this as the clock assembly. So I've already got it named clock assembly, so I don't need to go ahead and do a file save as. So I can just go file save. So we'll do file save, which I can do the file tab and hit save is one way. So let me escape out of that to show you the easier way, or what I think is the easier way, is just go up to this old floppy drive button right up here and click on that, and that will save everything. So I've got my full assembly drawing of the clock. So it doesn't have a face on it yet, or doesn't have the hole to show the dial and such. So we'll get there. So that's one of the next steps that we've got to do. We've got to do some other things to get that in, and we'll come back at a later date and discuss that um, aspect of the clock and getting that drawn up in our assembly drawing here as well. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video when we do go over the making the clock face.